Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Sweatable podcast. My name is Brooks Herbis, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you simplify and make sense out of the all too confusing fitness and nutrition industry. Let's be real, there's a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change. But I'll also be sharing real-life practical application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can actually apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweats and Bolt podcast to give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes look. I am going ham on the podcast episodes today because I'm going to be out of town spending some time with my family later in the month. So I really want to make sure that you guys are still getting some really solid quality content when I'm gone. So I'm batching some podcast episodes, making sure that you guys don't miss a single week of uploads. So hopefully my brain is still working, but just a little behind the scenes info for you guys. So today we are talking about something that I am very excited about because people have kind of a misconception about this topic and think that there is really only one way to do it. But to be fully honest, that way can be a bit overwhelming. But before we fully dive into that, I wanted to let you guys know that I am hosting a free workshop all about stop self-sabotaging your fitness goals on Tuesday, August 13th. Now, self-sabotage is something that we tend to not fully understand the full scope of. If you're someone who has tried the same diet a million times and you keep going back to it, or maybe you're someone who knows what you need to be doing, but you can't actually get yourself to fully do it. Or if you find yourself in social situations going in with a plan and then completely ditching that plan based off what everyone else is doing, those are all sneaky versions of self-sabotage. And in order to fully understand how to stop self-sabotaging, we first need to understand why we're doing it in the first place. So during this free workshop, I'm going to be walking you guys through a few sneaky ways that you're self-sabotaging your fitness goals and not even realizing it, and also give you 3 strategies to stop doing it moving forward. If you're trying to lose fat or hit any sort of other fitness goal, this workshop is going to help you truly finally reach your goals and, most importantly, maintain them. So if that sounds like you, make sure you are saving your spot. Again, this is a completely free workshop. Head to the link in the show notes, reserve your spot, and you are good to go. Now today, juicy topic that we are diving into is meal prep. And like I said, I am so excited for this one because meal prep is something that is so helpful when it comes to reaching your goals, but it's also something that people have a misconception about. The reason meal prep is so helpful when it comes to reaching your health and fitness goals is because it eliminates a lot of the work that you're having to do during the week. If you are someone who is always getting home and you're like, oh my God, I do not want to cook that healthy meal that I had planned, meal prep is going to be a huge help when it comes to that because you don't have to decide to cook the healthy meal. You don't have to work up the energy, the motivation in order to do that. The food is made for you. But there are more than one way to go about doing it. And for some people, certain ways are going to work better than other. Through the years, I have actually completely shifted the way that I meal prep to something that works much better for me and allows me to not get burnt out on the act of meal prepping because, to be honest, it can be a lot of work, but also helps me still stay successful and really prioritize healthy eating throughout the week. So during this podcast, I'm going to break down 3 different ways that you could approach meal prep moving forward. And some of these might be different than what you think right now. So I've named all 3 of these, and I want you guys telling me what one resonates with you most. What one by the end of this episode do you think would most help you stay successful and stay consistent moving forward? So first up, we have what I call the repeater. Now, with this strategy, you're typically making one recipe for breakfast, one recipe for lunch, and then 1 to 2 recipes for dinner that you're eating for every meal throughout the week. So I'm talking you do one big meal prep on your Sunday and you eat that meal for the rest of the week. This is what I used to do when I was going into an office. I would meal prep my entire lunch and sometimes my dinners for the whole week on Sunday, and then I didn't have to think about cooking the rest of the week. This can be a great option if you are someone who only wants to cook 1 day a week, you really dread it and you just want to get it all over with. If you're someone who doesn't mind eating the same things every day, and if you're someone who wants to make calorie counting as easy as possible. Because if you're just eating the same thing for, I'm talking different things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but the same thing for those meals throughout the week, you're only tracking once and then you're done for the week. So this could look like, taking the time on Sunday to make a breakfast casserole with 6 servings for the week, maybe prepping burrito bowls for lunches all week, and then making a big turkey and veggie skillet portioned out into, separate meals for the next 3 to 4 nights. However, this is the one that most people, I would say, classify as pretty standard, typical meal prep. When we think of meal prep, we think of this. We think hours in the kitchen on Sunday, making everything you need to eat for the week, and then you never think about it. We think of chicken and brown rice and veggies, and you are good to go. But for a lot of people, this meal prep method is just not sustainable, especially if you are someone who isn't cooking just for yourself, especially if you're someone who hates eating the same thing every single day, you're someone who needs more variety. This method is not going to be your best option. Because the way to be most consistent with fat loss is to actually enjoy the things that you're eating. And if you are constantly dreading having to eat the same thing for lunch and dinner that you've already been eating all week, this probably isn't going to be the best bet for you. This isn't going to allow you to be successful, because by the time Wednesday, Thursday rolls around, you might be so sick of it that you ditch it and go and get takeout. Or when that Sunday comes around and you just are so tired and you do not want to spend 4 hours in the kitchen making all of these meals, you're a lot less likely to actually do it, which means you're not prepping at all, and the week is going to feel a lot harder. So this method works really well for some people. However, this traditional method of meal prep does not work for everyone. And if you're one of those people who either has tried this or you feel like some of those things I just mentioned sound like you, I have 2 other methods that might be a little bit more effective and might be better for you to try long term. I hope you guys didn't just hear that. A plane just went outside and it sounded like it was very low and close to my house. So that totally distracted me for a second. But moving into the next meal prep method. This is called what I like to call the leftover lover. So this just involves making double portions of whatever you're having for dinner to take for lunch with you the next day. So this could be a great option for people who enjoy leftovers. You don't mind cooking every night, but you don't want to do a big meal prep every week. You also want some variety in your meals, but you're okay eating a few servings of the same things. And you're someone who doesn't have a lot of time to prep a lunch at home, so you do still need that lunch prepped and ready. This could look like making, chicken, potatoes, and grilled veggies on Monday night, and then bringing half of it for Tuesday lunch, then making Italian wedding soup on Tuesday night, and bringing the leftovers for lunch Wednesday and Thursday. So this is a really good option if you're someone who likes variety, you want to cook more frequently, but you still don't want that big multiple hour long meal prep every single weekend. So this can be really good too if you're someone who does a little bit of meal planning, but the thought of meal planning for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner is really exhausting. Because then with this method, you're really only planning out your dinners and knowing that you just need to make a little bit more and you'll be all set for lunch the next day. Now, the third and final meal prep method, and this is actually what I do, is something that I call ingredient prep. So rather than prepping a full meal, you're really just prepping ingredients. And for me personally, this looks like typically making some sort of protein to add to my lunches, because that's the thing that takes the longest to cook. And I know that if I have the protein and I can just add it to my lunch becomes a 5-minute thing as opposed to a 20, 30, 45-minute thing. So this ingredient prep method involves making a big batch of a few ingredients. So it could be 1 to 2 protein options, 1 to 2 carbs, and then some veggies separately. Then throughout the week, you can grab the ingredients that you already have and you can make different combinations of things throughout the week by using different sauces and seasonings. So this is great for people who still really only want to cook about once a week, but don't want to cook for hours at a time. You're okay with doing a little bit of like prep each night or cooking a couple times, throughout the week to get the rest of the ingredients you might need. If you're someone who gets sick of eating the same things every day and you need more variety, and you're someone who also doesn't mind your meals being fairly simple. You don't need these big, complicated, recipes. You just need things that are hitting your balance plate, hitting your calories, and feeling good. So this might look like making a big batch of chicken in the crock pot on Sunday. On Monday night, maybe you have a serving of it and you add buffalo sauce to make a buffalo chicken slider and serve that with broccoli. On Tuesday, you might take that same chicken and add it to a big salad with jasmine rice, cucumbers, tomatoes, your favorite salad dressing. And then on Wednesday, maybe you're adding a little bit of salsa, you're making a chicken quesadilla with it. So I just named 3 completely different meals, but all with that same protein that you already prepped. Again, the reason that I really like this, and this is actually what I use for just my lunches, is because I don't like to take a lot of time to make a big lunch. But if I already have a carb prepped and I already have a protein prepped, it's really easy to throw everything in the bowl with some veggies. Maybe you even want to cut up your veggies and you have a full meal that just is a lot quicker to make. And that is really what the goal of meal prep is. Regardless of which method you choose, the goal of meal prep is to just make things easier during the week. Because during the week, we are tired, we're stressed, we don't have as much time. And even though we think we're going to have this motivation to cook every meal from scratch and make these really big, amazing, fancy recipes, most of the time it just doesn't play out that way. So when you're thinking about which meal prep method to use and how to be successful during the week in hitting your calories, think about what is going to make the week feel so much easier. What things do you need to prep on one day in order to make the week feel easier for you overall? So where are the times where you're typically saying, I'm too tired, I don't want to do that? Or you notice you fall short on your goal because you never feel like making a specific meal? Whatever those things are, those are the things that you need to plan and prep so that during the week, it's a non-issue. And that's all meal prep is. It's just setting you up for future success. So there is no one right way to meal prep. It's really about what you think is going to help you the most during the week. So I'm curious, now that you've heard these 3 methods, is the meal prep method that you think is going to help you the most? What method is going to help you to feel most successful? And what one are you most likely to keep up week after week? Because that's another key component. It's not just what feels like the best in theory. What is the one that you know week after week is going to feel manageable for you to still show up and do? It doesn't have to be that multi-long 3-hour meal prep every single Sunday. If that's not realistic for you, choose one of the other methods. But as you're thinking through this, think about 1, what is going to be the most helpful, and 2, what are you actually going to most realistically stick to? So think about which of those 3 methods you think would work best for you. Maybe it's a combination of them. Maybe if it's a different method that you've been using completely. If it is, shoot me a DM. I would love to hear about it because I'm always looking for new ways that you could be prepping or, just getting ready for the week. So thank you guys so much for being here. I so appreciate you listening to this episode. If you have any questions on meal prep in general or the best way to really set yourself up for success for the week, please shoot me a DM. I would love to hear from you. Final reminder that I am hosting that self-sabotage workshop on 8/13. So if you guys are curious about learning how to be more successful in hitting your fitness goals moving forward and what's been holding you back from that in the past, highly recommend heading to the show notes, saving your spot. But either way, I'm so looking forward to connecting with you guys, and I will talk to you next week.